couple of days ago, I opened up the Target app because I needed to put in a curbside pickup order, and immediately I experienced orbital bombardment from all the star-spangled fashion for every member of the family, including Fido and Felix, because, it's the American way. And I didn't know how to feel about it, and that not knowing was more unsettling than any actual opinion I could have landed on. Because here's the thing, I know what red, white, and blue meant when I was a child. It meant fireworks and hot dogs and cherry popsicles at the neighborhood cookout. Good memories and good vibes. But in 2026, scrolling past several retailer apps of star-spangled everything, I realized I genuinely could not tell you whether wearing those colors right now really is just about America's 250th birthday, or if it could be an act of rebellion or an act of surrender, and I needed to figure out why. Hey everyone, welcome back to Lo-Fi Apocrypha, where we talk about things that aren't that deep until they actually are. I'm your host, Mom Chalan, and typically, I don't post in the middle of the week, I post on Sundays, but since it is America's 250th birthday, I'm going to make an exception for that. Today we're asking a question I have not heard a single person ask during this whole 250th birthday build-up. What are we actually signaling when we get dressed? Chapter 1. The choker, the bob, and the guillotine. Fashion has never just been about looking cute. It's always been a signal, and sometimes that signal is a middle finger. Let's rewind to Revolutionary era France. It's the 1790s, the guillotine is clocking overtime, and a very specific accessory starts appearing around the necks of women across Paris. The choker. But not in a cute Y2K nostalgia way. No, these women were wearing red ribbons tightly around their throats, an homage to the guillotine's victims, a morbid tribute that basically said, we remember what happened, and we're not afraid of death. Some accounts suggest women even wore thin red cords in a direct reference to the blade itself. Around the same time, another style emerged, the bob. Short, cropped Joan of Arc hair, and in the context of pre-revolutionary France, short hair was a direct rejection of aristocratic femininity. For centuries, elaborate, towering hairstyles had been a status symbol. The bigger the hair, the closer to getting an invite to Versailles. Chopping it off wasn't just a haircut. It was a declaration that I am not one of them. What's fascinating is that neither of these trends started with a manifesto. Nobody published a pamphlet that said, wear the ribbon of the revolution. It happened organically. Women saw what the moment demanded and they styled themselves accordingly. Fashion became the language when words were too dangerous. Chapter 2. The miniskirt was never about looking cute. Now let's fast forward to the 1960s. Mary Quant puts its skirt on, the market that ends several inches above the knee, and the world gets its collective mind rocked. But here's the thing people misunderstand about the miniskirt. It was never about sex appeal. Quant herself said it was about movement. And I don't mean movement like social reform and all that. Mary Quant meant basic physical movement, like being able to run after the bus, like not being physically constrained by your clothing in a way that men have never experienced. The miniskirt was autonomy you could visually see. And the backlash proved it was working. Schools banned them, offices banned them, governments debated them. A few inches of fabric sparked an international moral panic because it represented something far more threatening than exposed knees. It represented women deciding what to do with their own bodies, on their own terms, visible for everyone to see. Chokers for the guillotine, short hair to reject the aristocracy, miniskirts to reclaim autonomy. In every case, fashion wasn't following the culture, fashion was confronting the culture. It was women saying, I know what you want me to wear. I'm choosing something else, and you're going to have to deal with it. Kick rocks, pound sand, the whole 9 yards. Which brings us to 2026. And the rack of flag fashion I cannot stop seeing online and in real time. Chapter 3. America's Founding Contradiction. Now here's where this gets uncomfortable, at least for me. Because if the American experiment is about anything, it's about dissent. The whole project was founded by people who said, we will not conform to the British crown. We will not fly our banners. We will not perform loyalty to a king just because he believes it's his divine right to tell us what to do. Our national origin story is a refusal to conform. So I have to ask, in 2026, when every retailer from Target to Selkie is selling you the same red, white, and blue color palette, when the tricolor is a product category, a marketing strategy, a seasonal drop on steroids, what's the truly American thing to do? Is it to buy the dress? To perform patriotism on schedule because the marketing algorithm told you it's time? Or, and I'm genuinely asking, okay, is the most authentically American fashion choice right now the one nobody told you to make? The one that says, I decide what these colors mean and I decide when I wear them. And before anyone says I'm overthinking a pair of shorts with flag print, gang, that is literally the entire premise of my show. We are in the right place where I talk about things that aren't that deep till they actually are. But let me be clear about something. This is not a don't wear red, white, and blue kind of lecture. That would be just as prescriptive and performative as the marketing I'm side-eyeing. What I'm wrestling with is the meaning beneath the fashion. Because when I was a kid, those colors meant something very specific. Community, celebration, a kind of uncomplicated belonging. Red, white, and blue were the colors of Superman and Captain America, the Chads of the people, the goated heroes who stood for liberty and justice for all. And now in a political climate where the flag has been weaponized and commercialized and debated and reclaimed and debated again, I genuinely don't know what wearing it signifies. And I suspect I'm not the only one who feels that way. Chapter 4. Selkie and the We Refuse to Surrender case study. Which brings me to Selkie. Y'all, Editing Mom Chalant here with a few notes. Before I say anything else about this collection, you see that black label? Yeah, after recording this episode, I found out that Selkie is donating 100% of the profits from the Americana collection to the Immigration Legal Resource Center. That's genuinely good. That matters. It 100% merits a shout out, and I support it. But that doesn't really change the question I'm asking in this episode, but it does deserve to be mentioned. And I want to pause on that because a brand can make a collection that visually reads as hollow patriotic cosplay and still donate every dollar to an organization doing real work. Both things can be true at the same time. My thesis was never Selkie and the tricolor are evil. My question was, should rebellion and patriotism be commodified? Okay, back to the story. If you haven't seen it yet, the hyper-girly Luxe brand recently dropped an American Woman capsule. Star-spangled, yassified Betsy Ross dresses, the whole shebang, and released a statement that basically said, we refuse to surrender the symbols of this country. And I stared at that collection for a long time. Because on one level, I understand the impulse, the reasoning behind it. The argument that ceding patriotic symbols to one toxic political faction is its own kind of defeat. That reclaiming the flag, as something inclusive is in itself a form of rebellion. And you know what? That's the American brand of beautiful, and I support that sentiment 100%. But when I thought about it more, I kept coming back to the same question. Who's being rebelled against here? The French revolutionaries weren't reclaiming aristocratic symbols. They invented new ones. Mary Quant didn't try to make modest hemlines mean something different. She threw those hemlines out entirely. Throughout history, fashion as rebellion hasn't looked like taking the dominant symbol and giving it a rebrand. It's looked like rejecting the symbol altogether. Now, Selkie says they're refusing to surrender the flag. But if everyone, every brand, every retailer, every Instagram ad is making the same claim, then wearing the flag in 2026 isn't a rebellion. It's the default. It's the thing the market handed you and said, this is what Americans wear in July. And maybe, and again, I'm genuinely working through this with you, maybe the Revolutionary Act isn't reclaiming the symbol. Maybe it's asking whether the symbol still means what we think it means. Chapter 5. What are we actually signaling? So I've been walking around with this question all week, and the more I sat with it, the more I realized the discomfort I felt in front of, that rack of flag dresses in Target wasn't about the colors themselves. It was about the peer pressure monkey see, monkey do of it all. The 4th of July rolls around and we reach for the flag print. Not because we made a conscious choice about what those colors represent to us in this specific political moment, but because that's just what you do. That's the script, that's the calendar, that's the tweet. And here's the part that bothers me most. If fashion has historically been the language of rebellion, think the choker, the Joan of Arc bob, the miniskirt, then unthinking conformity to a retail cycle might be the least revolutionary thing you can put on your body. No, I'm not saying you can't wear the flag dress. That's not what I said. I'm saying if you do, maybe you should know why you're doing it, what you're signaling, what those colors mean to you specifically in 2026, giving everything you know about our country and the moment. Because the French women who tied ribbons around their necks knew exactly what they were saying. The women who chopped off their hair in defiance of the French aristocracy knew what they were signaling. Mary Quant knew what she was doing with the miniskirt. Fashion as rebellion only works when the signal is intentional. So maybe the question isn't, should I wear red, white, and blue? It's, do I know what I'm saying when I wear red, white, and blue? And in 2026, if you can answer that honestly, if you've actually sat with it, then whatever you choose to wear, that is the true American spirit. Not the colors, but the choice and the meaning behind it. Conclusion. The outfit nobody told you to wear. Here's where I landed, and it surprised me. I don't think the most American outfit of 2026 is the flag dress, whether you pick it up from J. Crew or Selkie. But I also don't think it's the defiant all-black outfit or, the protest t-shirt or any other prescribed alternative. Because the moment an alternative is prescribed, it just becomes another uniform. I think the most American outfit is the one nobody told you to wear. The one you chose because you actually thought about what you wanted to put into the world. America was founded by people who refused to submit to the British crown. The most American fashion tradition isn't the tricolor. It's the refusal to perform blind loyalty on command. Remember, we're Americans, not Pavlovian test subjects. And maybe the most revolutionary and meaningful thing you can wear right now, as our country turns 250, is whatever actually means something to you. Not what Nordstrom Rack says, not what the brand campaign tells you patriotism looks like, but what you chose freely, knowing exactly what you're signaling and why. the French women with their chokers, the twiggy mod girls with their miniskirts. They didn't wait for permission, they didn't check the trend forecast. They dressed for the revolution they wanted to see. We get to do the same thing, folks. We just have to do it intentionally. Thank you for hanging out with me today. If this episode made you think differently about what's hanging in your closet and what you're wearing on the 4th, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. What's something you wear because it actually means something to you, not because someone told you to? This has been Lo-Fi Apocrypha. I'm your host, Mom Chalan, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!